recording. Right, well, good evening and welcome to, well, I lose count of how many briefings we've done. It must be the fourth, isn't it?
Yes, I think so.
Actually. No, because we did one for Draycott and actually, but yeah, keeping the format going. So yeah, back from the Magic Marine Brass Monkey. Again, a bit of a frustration on the weather front, wasn't it, Simon?
Yeah, it was. I mean, I was driving up from Stamford, and there were some glimpses of some sunshine, and I thought we were going to be in for a great light wind event. And as I dropped into Yorkshire Dales, then confronted by the heavy fog, which unfortunately seemed like it was going to lift, and then didn't, Simon.
It didn't, yeah. And the forecast had turned quite good overnight, hadn't it? From looking really the non-event on the forecast suddenly looked like sunshine and. Well, about 10 mile an hour breeze, wasn't it? Perfect.
Yes, absolutely. 5 gusting 10 it was looking like, which would have been great. And, despite that, we had 64 boats and actually quite a good buzz and lots of chatter in the clubhouse, Simon.
Yeah, pretty much all the people turned up, perhaps encouraged by that forecast. But yeah, lots of positive comments about the atmosphere at the club and the hospitality. And obviously they run a great meal there and little things like the free teas and coffees throughout the day. It's sort of, I think, as people say, it's not just about racing. It'd be nice to do some racing, wouldn't it? But it's about getting together, really. And people say, yeah, seeing their friends they haven't perhaps seen for a year or so. But Plan B came into action again, didn't it?
Yeah, we did a little bit of a 30-minute coaching slot just to give it a bit of an insight into, from my point of view, of a Sailjuice series and a few top tips and possibly just a few thoughts as to how I might go about sailing should we get out in the afternoon. Unfortunately, the weather didn't allow for that, but hopefully I passed on some useful information to the competitors that were there.
Yeah, certainly had some good feedback. So we see a smiling Ilka sailor here. Looks like he's dressed for the occasion for once, doesn't he? Not normally, Mr. Flower looks like he's just rolled in from the beach, doesn't he?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Yes, definitely.
He's got his storm gear on. But yeah, fantastic clubhouse. Well, you can literally see the fog in that picture of the window. We couldn't really see beyond the window, can we? Normally we get quite a stunning view of the Yorkshire Dales in the background.
Yeah, absolutely. I was parked about 3 car lengths from the water, and I couldn't see the water from there. It was literally like pea soup.
Yeah, but there we have all the competitors enjoying their pea soup now, enjoying their selection of different meals and something to suit everyone. But Yorkshire do put on a stunning meal, and I think that does go well, and everyone's sort of enjoying themselves. Right, so we move to the Grafham Grand Prix tomorrow. Nearly a full entry. I think there's a few late ones coming in, but I think we're knocking on 130 and the limit's 150, so that could well fill up on the day. It's quite a diverse entry, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And 51 classes so far from the looking at the entry list time as well, which is really encouraging. And nice to see, particularly, I think for the first time, I think I'm right in saying that there's 7 toppers entered, which is great. So
the toppers haven't been able to enter the event in the past, whereas they can enter all events. And I think there was a bit of deputation from the topper class, and Grafham thankfully have allowed them in because they're an important class, and as we know, we've got some topper sailors in there. So it's a great introduction to the 12, 13-year-olds, the junior sailors into some real competitive adult sailing. So they'll be there, but they'll be on the slow fleet, won't they?
It will, yeah. And our series leader at the moment is Sophie Forbes, and it's great that she's able to enter and continue to be consistent and get rewarded by being able to enter and also really help with putting a series together.
Well, yeah, I think that's the important thing. It's made it harder for toppers to put a series together if they're not able to go to all events. I mean, for some classes like the catamarans, it's difficult for them to go to all classes for logistical reasons. But toppers should be there. But it could make a difference the way the average lap works on that slow course. But I think the important message to get over, Simon, is that we've got multiple racetracks, haven't we?
Yeah, absolutely. So Graftham's very unique in the fact that they run 3 different courses using the whole of the reservoir. So you'll have the fast handicap, the medium handicap, and the slow handicap. And the difference is, certainly from a fast handicap point of view, they will be using a windward leeward with a spreader mark, and the medium and the slow fleet will be using our traditional trapezoid courses. Yeah, and it's very, very unique in that. And there's Grafham is the only club that chooses to race on 3 courses.
Yeah, so I think important, as we keep saying, is read the sailing instructions, because there are some subtleties across each event, and I guess easy to lull yourself into a sense of some sort of familiarity, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. There's subtle differences pretty much on most of them. But what is key is definitely to read those sailing instructions. And the commonality is, on an average lap race, you always have to go through the start finish. And, I think I've said it already, but going back to a polar trace, I think a third of the fleet failed to go through the start finish gate. And tomorrow you will be required to go through the start finish on each lap in order to get your average lap scored. Failure to do so will mean your lap won't count. So it's really important to do that, Simon.
It is. So quickly, just to mention, all competitors should be sent this sort of invite. But if you're sailing a boat older than 20 years old, and we're seeing a growing number of them, aren't we, Simon? Which is really good.
Yeah, absolutely. There's certainly a couple of enterprises. There's Laser 3000. Those are ones that spring to mind immediately, Simon.
Yeah, so we've got Paul and Maria Burgoyne in their 30-year-old enterprise, which keeps saying this, but they bought that for £1,500 last year. Paul was keen to, I guess he's been sailing a long time, but get the family into sailing, so they wanted a relatively cheap vessel, and he's out here, and I think he came 15th at the Polar Chase, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely, and we're sailing really well, and we've all, as like I've said, I think we've all got dinghy parks around the country with at least 1/3 of the boats that don't go anywhere, and they're perfectly sailable. With a little bit of a jet wash and polish up, they're good to go and are competitive. And with the added bonus of speaking to yourself and maybe getting a favourable handicap.
Well, there's that, yes. I mean, you can apply for a handicap, an additional handicap, or you can just be on the list, I think, is by default. And this is sponsored by Zyke, so there'll be lots of sort of Zyke prizes to encourage you. But I think we've got a picture of, I guess this is the average lap race from the Polar Chase, isn't it? But look at Simon, Paul in the Enterprise and Maria, they're right on that line, aren't they? Nudging forward, you can see that they've sort of almost taken 5 boats even before they've started.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's an old boat can be competitive. It just, as they say, you got to put it in the right place and the right direction, haven't you?
Absolutely. And yeah, it's great that people are able to do this and get a little bit of reward by potentially getting a slightly more favourable handicap for a boat that's just new, so yeah, it makes it much more fairer, I think.
Yeah. Right, okay, so we'll be tracking events, which we'll come on to about in terms of how it helps out, but you need to pick up your tracker from the I guess it's the downstairs, cafe, isn't it, Simon?
Yes, yeah, definitely in the top right corner there, yeah.
Cool there, what it's called. So come and collect your tracker. We'll send a note to say when that is sort of shortly, but important you pick that up, because over all the race courses that will become very important. But it also comes, Paul, Simon, in terms of how we glue all this back together, isn't it? In terms of we're running 3 race courses, and we will be putting an overall result together for the series based on using the tracker data and the look on time on distance and things like that. So a reasonably fair way. I mean, not perfect, but gets us close to really combining all the results over the different race courses. But it also helped with scoring anyhow, because we've got we'll have nearly virtually 150 boats. So that's a lot of paper, a lot of laps. So we all need as much help as we can to identify them. So do make sure you collect them and use them. And then it becomes useful when we do the coach debriefing. Well, I guess we'll be on Tuesday. Well, no, that'd be New Year's Eve, wouldn't it? Perhaps.
It all gets confusing at Christmas.
Yeah, we'll work it out, but it'll be shortly afterwards, where we will hopefully get some good video. Hopefully you and Tim will be able to bomb between 3 courses. Again, it's a challenge to cover all the 3 races, isn't it? Hopefully we'll get something.
Yeah, absolutely. I think our plan is to start with the fast and then move to the medium and then finally over to the slow and vice versa. So we get a good, viewpoint from each of the 3 courses.
Every course, yes. I mean, you know, Tim, I think, tries to get a picture of everyone, but again, it's harder on the 3 courses. But again, that's where the tracking comes, because it means that we are covering all 3 courses, even if we can't physically be on them. So we'll hope to get quite a few sort of coaching points coming out, won't we, Simon?
Yeah, absolutely. It's always great. It's always good to go back and reflect and just watch yourself on the tracker. I think that's the huge benefit of the Sailjuice series, of being able to look at your performance and then perhaps reflect on it. And you can you can relive where you went and think, well, perhaps if I did this slightly differently, I could have gained maybe 5, maybe 10 places. And that's the beauty of a tracker. It's a really good tool to improve your sailing. If you look at
you managed to combine that at the Polar Chase, you know. I mean, yes. I mean, did we say how many national champions we got? Thinking sailing here.
Yeah, I was just looking just before we came on air, and I got to about 17. But actually, on reflection, I think there's around 20 national or world champions, a mixture of helms and crew. So yeah, some fantastic sailors across all 3 courses, looking at the boats for sailing. So it's going to be super competitive. So what a great showcase for sailing. You know, 17 national champions at least in one event. Fantastic.
And I think we managed to capture some very efficient sailing from some of those national champions. What was clear is they probably sail the shortest distance, don't they? I think
they do. Absolutely. And you know, that's for skill. You know, you just being in and around these sailors, you can almost see how they do it. And again, you can watch everybody on the tracker, so you can see where the top sailors went. You know, what a great way of improving your sailing. Well, I went this way, and somebody went the other way, and why did that?
Yeah. Well, the trick is you can deselect everyone and then select the winner of the race and yourself, and do a sort of really lay on your tracks and just see how different you may have been compared to the actual winner. Can be a bit confusing when you've got different types of boat, can't you, in terms of asymmetry?
Yes, with different angles, they potentially say that.
But certainly upwind and how people go around marks, you start to quickly see where the races have been won or lost. So remember to collect those. Then we got the Seldén. I love this picture, the smiley girls. So if you carry your Seldén sticker and you're one of Tim Olin's top pictures, actually, we're loving people really getting into enjoying their sailing, like 2 RS200 girls there. You can win a nice ratchet block, which could be quite useful in future events. Right, get my notes slide. Come on, slides. Why are you not moving forward? Oops, let me just refresh. Right, ready. Got to the end of the slides. We're missing some of them. Right, okay. So I think it's worth mentioning the different courses, isn't it, Simon? So we got the
absolutely
fast fleet, which is sort of, well, what you could call very fast boats. I mean, in terms of you've got cats in there, foilers.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got A-class foiling cats. We've got A-classes. We've got Spitfire catamarans. There's a Norfolk punt. There's going to be a couple of moths. We're going to have 400s, 500s. So a real diverse mix of boats on the fast handicap. And really, to reiterate, Simon, the fact that this is going to be run on a windward-leeward course with a spacer. So it's going to be up to number 1, a little spacer to provide a little bit of safety, and then a lured mark, and then not forgetting to go up through the start-finish so you can capture that average lap time.
Yeah, so the mediums are things like Fireballs and 470s, which, you know, in a dim and distant past would be considered fast boats, and then a few boats like Darts and things like that, then RS200s, so that could be quite a big fleet. And then what's likely to be the big fleet is the slow fleet, which includes sort of really all the ilkers, doesn't it, I think?
Yeah, it's looking like it's going to be at least 50 plus boats on that start line, probably more, Simon.
Yeah,
And
that's likely to be the crowded one, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Boats from such as, as slow as a topper all the way up to a 2,000 or around, around that sort of like PY.
Yeah. So important to work out which fleet you are, but this is all on the the notice board in terms of in the notice of race. So this was known quite a long time ago. And then, yeah, as you said, Simon, a windward leeward for the fast fleet. Yeah.
Yep. And a trapeze oil for the other two, which is key. Again, remembering to go through the start finish line on each lap.
Yeah,
is key. And it's an average lap race, so it's really key to keep your boat moving as fast as possible all the time. So keeping out of traffic, keeping moving, and just thinking about where you might start, especially in the slow fleet. It's going to be really crowded on there, and getting a lane and getting to be able to get some good average lap time is going to be key. And that first lap is going to be slower probably than the second and third lap. Which is probably 3 laps is realistic with a target race time of around 40 minutes. So you're looking at somewhere between 2, probably 3 laps for the quicker boats in that fleet, I suspect.
Yes, I guess the toppers may just do 2 laps and then 3 laps. But that is the beauty of average laps, really. You can mix and match a wide variety of classes and variety of laps. And I think it's as long as the slower boats do more than 1 lap, because that's your getting up to speed lap, isn't it? It's like Formula One, really. That's never the quickest lap, is it? Because you've got to get away from a crowded start line. So
absolutely, it's beating the traffic, really, isn't it? And getting around, and then as you rightfully say, lap 2, lap 3 are going to be ones where the fleet's spread out, and then you've got opportunity to put the boat where you'd like to put it, which ultimately is going to be quicker.
That's right. So it's essential, really, to get away quickly and then do it. But certainly, when you look at the tracker, you rarely see lap 1 as being the quickest, unless there's some change in the obviously wind strength. But hopefully, we'll get a reasonable, consistent one. But the weather's looking quite good, isn't it? I think tomorrow.
It is, yeah. We haven't mentioned weather, and the forecast I've got from both the Met Office and some of the apps I use is it's sort of like west southwest and around 8 to 17 knots. So from that, I expect there to be quite a big distance between the base and the high end gusts there of 17 knots. So it's going to be a head out the boat day and get putting the boat in those gusts, thinking of those average lap times.
Yeah, and I think all set for a good day, really. I mean, with nearly 150 boats, a lot of people helping, volunteers running the racing, and then we'll get a lot of sort of family and friends coming out. We're still on Christmas holidays, aren't we, really? So we're probably knocking on 500 odd people in the clubhouse. It certainly won't feel lonely there, will it? And,
no, I think it'll be a great atmosphere, and with multiple champions there, it's going to be some super competitive racing, whether you're in slow, medium, or fast fleet. So
yeah. And you'll be having to get around the dinghy part, won't you, and do a bit of boat bimbling if people want.
Absolutely, yeah. Go around and chat and come and grab me if I can be of any help to you or support you prior to going sailing.
Yeah. No, I think it's important to do that because, as we keep saying, we do see a few boat issues, don't we? And which do lose people's race, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you quite often see those people have gone out and then 15 minutes later or 5 minutes later, they're running back to the slipway because something has failed. So get up early, get into the dinghy part, make sure everything's going to work, and try and reduce those errors. And if I can be of help, then give me a shout.
Yeah, good. Okay, well, I think that sort of covers it. Yes, it's been a busy few days, isn't it? So we will head to sunny Grafham tomorrow, and then back to Draycott.
Draycott just after in the new year, which is be great.
4th and 5th. So that's the rerun. So that's I'm completely confused about what we should call these events, but that in theory is number 1 event has been the event in the series, but that got a bit storm damage.
Sorry, Simon. It'll be the first race under the new rules as well. So another exciting turn as well.
All right, yes, because we're looking back to Datchet, where another storm, while you were kept ashore, wasn't it? We had Chris Simon from the REA giving us all an update on the rules, which changed. Well, they changed on the year after the Olympic cycle. I think that's the sort of the format, isn't it?
Absolutely. So yeah, so a few little new rules and certainly a few rewrites. So maybe worth after the New Year, just having a quick look at the new rule book prior to going to Datchet. Grafham.
Draycott.
Draycott. Get there in the end.
You might get to the right place, but
yeah, I'm going to Grafham tomorrow just to be.
Yeah, going to Grafham tomorrow. But yes, we'll perhaps try and see if we can get Chris Simon to give us a bit of a summary of what's new next weekend. Because I think there are a few ones that I think might have an impact on your racing, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely.
And I think you need to try and understand the changes. As with a lot of these things, there's a lot of wordage to get through, isn't there? But hopefully we can drill down to the bullet points of what actually changes. But I think there's quite a lot of tidying up going on, isn't there?
Yeah, that's the main aim of it, really. A lot of rewording, not actually too many rule changes, thankfully.
Yeah, but it's important to get your head around it, because you could come a cropper to some quite important rule that's changed a bit. We've seen that over the years, haven't we? Mark roundings and windward leeward, have changed quite radically, haven't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
And we don't call for war, all that sort of stuff, do we?
Yes, definitely is. There's definitely a few changes around the windward and leeward mark, and obstructions, I think, are the takeaways I've picked up so far.
Yeah, okay. We're perhaps trying to bring that up in the debrief. So we're looking to do a debrief during the week, and then obviously a brief to Draycott in the new year, and then see a lot of people at Draycott. I mean, that's got a few people have had to pull out, but then we've got some newbies coming in, so that's nearing capacity as well. So if you want to get into Draycott, you really need to get your entry in now, because that's virtually at capacity. Right, well, we look forward to seeing everyone tomorrow at Grafham Water. Good evening.